Welcome you all. I am Karthik Gupta. Today we are going to discuss the topic number system. Very basic thing and important thing, that is number system. It is the foundation for your aptitude. It is the foundation for your aptitude. In your clerical exam, you may get almost 15 marks. Okay, based on simplification. So simplification is completely dependent on your number system and surds and indices. Okay, so number system. Here we are going to discuss the various topics from what do you mean by number. Okay, next, what are the types of different numbers are there. Next, what do you mean by prime number? What do you mean by composite number? Test of divisibilities, arithmetic progression, okay, geometric progression, how to identify the unit digit. Next, how to calculate the square of a given number, how to calculate the square root of a given number, how to calculate the cube of a given number, how to calculate the cube root of a given number. Okay, so many things are there what we are going to discuss in this number system. What do you mean by number? Everybody knows what do you mean by number. Okay, so let me start with the bifurcation of the numbers. So the first one is natural number. The first one is natural number. The first one is natural number. Natural number, it starts from 1 and the next number is 2, next number is 3 and till infinity it comes. Okay, so natural number, it starts from 1 and till infinity it comes. So natural numbers are also called as positive numbers. Now natural numbers are also called as positive numbers. It starts from 1 and ends at infinity. Next, whole number. Next, whole number. Whole number starts from 0, 1, 2, 3 till infinity. Whole number starts from 0 and ends at infinity. Infinity means no end. Okay, so whole number starts from 0. Whole number is also known as 0 plus natural numbers. Whole number is also known as 0 plus natural number. Next, you have integers. You have integers. So integers minus infinity. So minus 1, 0, plus 1 till plus infinity. So minus infinity to plus infinity including 0. One thing you have to concentrate here, see here, plus 1 to plus infinity is called positive numbers. Next, minus infinity to minus 1 is called negative numbers. Minus infinity to minus 1, negative numbers, plus infinity to plus 1, it is positive number. Then what do you mean by 0? Then what do you mean by 0? 0 is neutral number. 0 is neutral number. Okay, so minus infinity to minus 1, negative number, plus infinity to plus 1, positive number. 0 is neutral number. Sometimes in the exam they may ask you to consider the range of numbers. See, they are going to ask you to consider the positive numbers. If they are going to tell you to consider positive numbers, then you have to take 1 to infinity. 1 to infinity. If they are going to tell you to take negative numbers, then you have to consider minus 1 to minus infinity. Minus 1 to minus infinity. If they are going to consider, if they are going to tell you to consider non-positive numbers, non-positive numbers means the numbers which are not positive, means you have to consider from 0 to minus infinity. Okay, non-positive means the numbers which are not positive in nature, means 0 is not a positive number. Okay, so from 0 to minus infinity you have to take. Next, if they ask you to consider non-negative numbers, means the numbers which are not negative, means 0 to plus infinity you have to consider. See here, only minor difference. If they ask you to consider the positive numbers, plus 1 to plus infinity. If they are going to ask you to consider the negative numbers, minus 1 to minus infinity. And if they are going to ask you to consider non-positive numbers, then 0 to minus infinity. Non-negative numbers means the numbers which are not negative. If they are going to ask you to consider that range, then you have to go with 0 to plus infinity. This is very, very important. If you do a minor mistake also, then you won't get the right answer. Okay, so this is very, very important. Next, after integer you have rational numbers. You have rational numbers. So, what do you mean by rational numbers? Rational numbers. So, what do you mean by rational numbers? Rational numbers are the numbers which are in the form of p by q, where q is not equal to 0. So, these type of numbers are called as rational numbers. So, p by q is a fraction where q is not equal to 0, means denominator cannot be equal to 0. If it is 0, then it is an error, not defined, you won't get the answer. So, numerator can be 0, but denominator cannot be 0. So, rational number means it is a number which is in the form of p by q, where q is not equal to 0. These rational numbers can be positive, negative and neutral. Okay. Next, this rational number contains all the natural numbers, whole numbers, integers as well as fractions. Next, irrational numbers. Irrational numbers, for example, root 2, cube root 5, 7th root 7. So, these numbers are called as irrational numbers. It is a separate category. Okay, root 2, cube root 5, 7th root 7. So, these numbers are called as irrational numbers. Next, you have real numbers. Next, you have real numbers. Real numbers means it is a group including all numbers, including all the varieties. Including all the varieties. Okay, so real number means it contains all the numbers, it includes all the varieties. Okay, so now you have learned what do you mean by natural number, what do you mean by whole number, what do you mean by integer. In integer, again, if they ask you to consider non-negative, non-positive, negative, positive, so you learned how to consider the range. Next, you have learnt what do you mean by rational number, what do you mean by irrational number, what do you mean by real number. Okay, now let's go to a different concept, that is prime number. That is prime number. So now, what do you mean by prime number? See, usually the people are going to tell like this: any number which is divisible by 1 and itself, then it is called prime. Okay, see here, according to the definition, I am taking a number called 5. The 5 is divisible by 1 and itself means 5. So, 5 is a prime number. Okay, I am taking one more number 3. It is divisible by 1 and 3. Therefore, it is a prime number. Okay, I am taking 1. 1 has to be divisible by 1 and itself. So, is it a prime number? Actually speaking, 1 is not a prime number. 1 is not a prime number. But according to the definition, if you go, 1 is divisible by 1 and itself. So, definition is not 100% right. Okay. So, prime number means any number having only two factors, two different factors. Okay. Those numbers are called as prime number. If you take 5, the 5 is having two different factors, that is 1 and 5. Okay. If you consider 3, 3 is having two different factors, 1 and 3. But if you consider 1, do you have two factors, two different factors? No. Therefore, 1 is not a prime number. So, the prime number means any number having two different factors. So, those numbers are called as prime numbers. Okay. You may take one more example. You may take 11. 11 means 11 is having two factors, that is 1 and 11. So, it is having only two factors. So, 11 is called a prime number. Now, how to identify a prime number? Okay, whether the given number is prime or not. So, how to identify? See here, let me give you an example. 91 is a prime number. Okay, 91, whether it is a prime or not. Okay, see here, so many students, what they do, they tell 91 is a prime number. Majority of the students, what they do, they tell 91 is a prime number. See, 91, actually speaking, it is not a prime number. So, how to identify? By seeing the number itself, whether it is a prime or not. Very simple. You consider a number which should be a perfect square number, that should be more than 91, but it should be very near to 91. See here, 91 is the number, and I am taking a perfect square number which is near to 91 and more than 91. So it is 100. It is 100. Now take the root of 100, that is 10, and list out the prime numbers below 10. The prime numbers below 10 are 2, next 3, next 5, next 7. Is any one of the prime number is going to divide 91 or not? Check. Okay, see, 2, is 2 can divide 91? No, therefore it cannot divide 91. 3 also cannot divide 91. 5 cannot divide 91. How about 7? Yes, 7 can divide 91. 7 13s are 91. Therefore, 91 is divisible by 7. Therefore, 91 is not a prime number. Okay, 91 is not a prime number. You may take one more number. Consider the number called 101. And you have to identify whether the given number is prime or not. So, which is the nearest perfect square number to 101 which is greater than 101? So, the nearest perfect square number which is greater than 101 is 121. Is 121. You take the root of 121, that is 11. So you list out the prime numbers till 11. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. So is 101 divisible by 2? No. Is 101 divisible by 3? No. Is it divisible by 5? No. Is it divisible by 7? No. Is it divisible by 11? No. So it is not divisible by any one of the prime numbers which is less than 11 and equal to 11. Therefore, 101 is a prime number. Therefore, 101 is a prime number. So this is the method what we are going to use to calculate whether the number is a prime or not. Next, a very important concept in a prime number. See here, the first prime number is the 2. The first prime number is 2 and it is the only even prime number. You won't get other prime number which is even. So the even prime number is 2. Next, the second prime number is 3, but 3 is the first odd prime number. 3 is the first odd prime number. Okay, so 2 is the first even prime number and 3 is the first odd prime number. Next, the concept is composite numbers. What do you mean by composite numbers? Any number having more than 2 factors, those numbers are called as composite numbers. For example, see here, composite numbers, example, you can take 4. 4 is having more than 2 factors. 4 is divisible by 1, 4 is divisible by 2 and 4 is divisible by 4. Okay, so 4 is having more than 2 factors. Next, you may take 6. Again, 6 is having more than 2 factors. It is divisible by 1, 2, 3 and 6. 4 factors are there for 6. 9. Again, 9 is having more than 2 factors. So, any number which is having more than 2 factors, those numbers are called as composite numbers. So, composite numbers, any number having more than 2 factors. Next, prime number, any number having only 2 factors. Then, what do you mean by 1? What do you mean by 1? Whether it is a prime or composite. According to the definition, composite more than 2 factors. According to the definition, prime number having only 2 different factors. But 1, you are going to get only one factor, that is 1. So 1 is neither prime nor composite. Always you have to remember 1 is neither prime nor composite. Okay, so this is all about the prime number and the composite number. Okay, let's move on to test of divisibility. What do you mean by test of divisibility? See here, if a number should be divisible by 2, then how the number should be? If the number should be divisible by 3, then how the number should be? If the number should be divisible by 7, then how the number should be? If the number should be divisible by 8, then how the number should be? So these type of things we are going to discuss now. So that is test of divisibility. Test of divisibility. So the first one is 2. If the number should divisible by 2, then how the number should be? If the number should be divisible by 2, then the number should be even. Then the number should be even. Any even number you may take, it is divisible by 2. For example, you may take 4, it is divisible by 2. You may take 100, it is divisible by 2. You may take 126, it is divisible by 2. So any even number if you take, it is divisible by 2. So if a number should be divisible by 2, then the number should be even. So how you can decide whether the number is even or not? Based on the unit digit. If the unit digit is even in nature, then obviously the number is even in nature. Okay, so if the number should be divisible by 2, then obviously the number should be even. Next, test of divisibility for 3. Test of divisibility for 3. So what is the nature of the number if it has to be divisible by 3? Very simple. You calculate sum of the digits of the given number. You calculate sum of the digits of the given number in the result. Okay, if the resultant sum is divisible by 3, then the given number is divisible by 3. For example, you take a number like this. The number is called 186. 186. So this is the number. See what the rule says. You calculate the sum of the digits of the given number, that is 1 plus 8 plus 6. So how much you are going to get? You are going to get 15. Is 15 divisible by 3? Yes, 15 is divisible by 3. Therefore, the given number 186 is divisible by 3. Next, test of divisibility for 4. 4, you have to consider last 2 digits. You have to consider last 2 digits. You take any number, for example, 2064. So what is the last 2 digit? Last 2 digit is 64. Is 64 divisible by 4? Yes. See here, 4 ones are 4, 4 6 are 24. So 16 times. Okay, so it is divisible by 4. Therefore, 2064 is also divisible by 4. So if you want to check whether the number is divisible by 4 or not, you have to consider the last 2 digits of the given number. If the last 2 digits of the given number is divisible by 4, then obviously the given number is divisible by 4. Next, test of divisibility for 5. Test of divisibility for 5. If the number should be divisible by 5, then the unit digit should be 0 or 5. If the unit digit should be 0 or 5. If the number should be divisible by 5, then the unit digit should be 0 or 5. If the unit digit is 0, then the number is going to be divisible by 5. If the unit digit is 5, then the number is going to be divisible by 5. So you may take any number which ends with 0 or 5, it is divisible by 5. Next, test of divisibility for 6. Test of divisibility for 6. If the number should be divisible by 6, then the number should be divisible by both 2 and 3. If the number should be divisible by 6, then definitely the number should be divisible by both 2 and 3. Why 2 and 3? Let me tell you later. Okay, so the number should be divisible by both 2 and 3.